Blessed Easter to all of you, both here outside and at home on virtual TV somewhere in this universe. God bless all of you. It's a joyous Easter, and we're blessed this Easter with having the opportunity to at least have a partial crowd indoors, and so we're grateful to Almighty God for that. We have 4 candidates for tonight, 3 for baptism and 1 for reception into full communion with the church. And my remarks will be not necessarily directly pointed at you, but they certainly have you in mind. Throughout the season of Lent, and particularly during Holy Week, with the Passion of the Lord on Palm Sunday and the Spy Gospels on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday, the Last Supper, Friday, the Passion that we celebrate and worship the cross, and then tonight, we really walk in the footsteps of Jesus, and we walk alongside of him and with him. And a part of what happens to us during these days is a growing sentiment. And I don't use that word negatively. A sentiment, a feeling, a connection with Christ. It brings out within us this human affection, that we are drawn into the sufferings of Christ. We see him as a man suffering, and who could not but be sympathetic to the one who suffers so severely, so gravely, so innocently. Our sentiment is aroused, and we long for this Christ. We want him not to suffer. We want him somehow to survive it. We want him to know the consolation of friends. We want him to know our loving consolation. And that's a sentiment. That's a beautiful sentiment. It's a great sentiment. But Pope Emeritus Benedict, in his beautiful encyclical on charity, Deus Caritas Est, tells us that this sentiment, though it's important, and I think for the converts, it is a kind of sentiment that brings you initially to the church, something that attracts you to her. You know, because otherwise, if we're not attracted, we would never come. So something attracts us. And it is the beauty, and I think in a particular way, the beauty of Holy Week. But Pope Emeritus Benedict tells us that sentiment is not enough. Sentiment is beautiful in a human relationship, but we know that it is not sufficient to build a life on. It does take knowledge, intellect. And so you studied the faith. You came to know the truths of the faith better. You brought them in, you reflected on them, you prayed over them, you meditated on them. All of that is a part of the intellectual work. You came to understand more, and all of us strive, as we ought to strive, to understand our church more and better for the whole of our lives. We are never done learning about Christ and his gospel, about the church and her teachings. We're never quite done. But even sentiment and intellect, if we were to stop there, something is still missing. Something is still missing. And Pope Emeritus tells us that the third element is the will. A decision to do something about this Christ towards whom I have this sentiment and about whom I have come to know something. And so now I make a choice. And tonight, my brothers and sisters, you make a choice and a decision, an act of the will. You say, I believe and confess all that the Holy Catholic Church teaches, believes, and proclaims to be revealed by God. I choose her. It's an act of the will. And all of us, we come certainly to church. Hopefully we come every single Sunday, not only at Christmas, Easter, and Palm Sunday and Ash Wednesday because of a sentiment, but every Sunday because we have chosen Christ, because we have decided to follow Christ. And that decision is not an occasional decision. It is a decision which we make once and for all, and which we then strive to fulfill and carry out for the whole of our lives. Just like the I do of marriage, which carries you into an indefinite future and continues to bond husband and wife together, so our commitment in faith, our baptism, carries us on forward with this new relationship with the resurrected Christ, and allows us, calls us, graces us to live fully and completely the commands of God, to fulfill the gospel, to be his people as we invite him to be our God. As you are baptized, as you make your profession of faith, I call upon all of the faithful to renew your own vows and promises of baptism, to make them fresh and new again, to reflect on where you have fallen short of fulfilling by will that baptismal commitment, and to commit, not only occasionally through sentiment or through knowledge, to say, hey, it's a good idea to come to church, but to say, I will do it. I will it. I will it because I have been washed in the blood of the Lamb. I have been baptized, and I am a child, a son or daughter of Christ, and I will live. I will live as that son and as that daughter.
Will the elect please stand as your name is called? Samantha Bayless, Zanae Fenton,